The moment I slipped past the heavy silk drapes, a quiet certainty settled over me. There was no turning back. The air was thick with the scent of sandalwood and rain, soft laughter and hushed conversations creating a low, intimate hum. People moved together in the dim light, their bodies swaying in a slow, practiced rhythm. Before I unfold the rest of this night, take a second to hit like and subscribe. It really does help more than you know. And if you're drawn into stories like this, I want you here for every one of them. Also tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? Are you in a small town where the evenings fall slow and gentle, or in a city where the lights never quite go dark? A steady hand found the small of my back. Another presence stepped in close behind me. A calm, low voice murmured against my ear. Just breathe. Let the room hold you. Sloane had promised this would be an awakening. I wasn't sure I believed her, but the door had already closed behind me. Before we go any further, I have one small request. Stay with me until the very end. I promise you, it will be worth your while. And if you find yourself drawn to stories like this one, tap that like button and subscribe. You won't want to miss what comes next. I'm finished with loneliness. The words escaped before I could stop them. And honestly, I didn't care. I took a slow sip of my gin and tonic, watching the ice cubes swirl and melt, as if they held the secrets to the universe. Across from me, Sloane nearly spit out her Sauvignon Blanc. She sputtered for a second, then let out a peal of laughter. Good Lord, Maya, we're cutting right to the chase tonight, aren't we? I'm done pretending. I leaned in, lowering my voice as if I were confessing a crime. It's been an eternity. I can't keep living like this. Sloane just shrugged, a smirk playing on her lips as she twirled the stem of her glass. So what's stopping you? I groaned, slumping back in my chair. Men our age are either married, mundane, or completely oblivious. And the younger ones? Half of them think a conversation is just a prelude to a poorly worded text message. Sloane tilted her head, her eyes dancing with amusement. And what exactly is it you need, Maya? I let out a dramatic sigh, rubbing my temples. I need a man who actually knows how to listen to a woman's body. Someone who doesn't have to ask, "Are you okay?" every 30 seconds. Sloane shook her head, laughing. Wow, someone's having a crisis. You have no idea, I mumbled, sinking deeper into the cushions. And don't you dare tell me to download another app. I don't need another stranger sending me a winking emoji at 2 a.m. Sloane gave me a look, the kind of look that made me freeze. A look that said she knew a shortcut to a place I'd only been searching for on foot. Maybe you're looking in the wrong kind of places. I narrowed my eyes. And what's that supposed to mean? She took a long, deliberate sip of her wine, drawing out the silence as if savoring it. I might know a way to solve your little problem. I crossed my arms over my chest. Sloane, she just smiled that slow, knowing smile of hers. Let's just say there's more than one path to finding the right kind of connection. She took another slow sip, letting the suspense hang in the air between us, just long enough to make me squirm. Sloane, I warned, my voice low. Just say it. Her smirk widened. Fine, but don't have a heart attack, I scoffed. Please, at this point, nothing you could say would shock me. Sloane leaned in, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. You know how I told you Julian and I like to keep things interesting? I nodded. Yeah. Her smile deepened, becoming something more secretive. Well, we don't believe in walls, we share. I blinked. You... what? Sloane shrugged, a gesture of complete nonchalance. We're open, we welcome new people, we explore new experiences together. It's liberating. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline, but it never came. You're serious, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Dead serious. She leaned back, watching me as if expecting me to bolt. I should have been horrified. I should have gasped, judged, called her insane. But instead, I found my grip tightening on my glass, a warm spark of curiosity igniting somewhere deep inside me. Sloane noticed the shift in my eyes. You're intrigued. I didn't say that. You didn't have to, she smirked. You just said you were going out of your mind. You need this. I hesitated, my mind racing. Sloane, I don't know. I mean, that's a huge leap. She reached across the table, her fingers brushing against mine. No pressure, just come, see it for yourself. You don't have to do a single thing you don't want to do. I swallowed hard. The wine suddenly felt too warm in my throat. The thought of stepping into that world, into her world, was terrifying. But the idea of another lonely night in my cold, empty bed somehow felt even more terrifying. Sloane squeezed my hand. "One night, Maya, just come with me, no expectations." I let out a long, slow breath. "Okay." Sloane's grin was triumphant. "Good girl. That weekend I did something I never, in my wildest dreams, thought I would do." I stood in front of my mirror, smoothing the emerald silk of my dress over my hips, my pulse a frantic drum against my ribs. The dress was a little bold, a little daring, but it didn't feel desperate. It had been sitting in the back of my closet for years, just waiting for a night that might finally be worthy of it. My hands trembled slightly as I reached for my perfume, misting it lightly over my wrists and neck. The scent settled around me like a quiet, unspoken promise. My stomach twisted, not with fear, but with something far more potent, anticipation. I exhaled slowly, but the electric hum beneath my skin refused to be quieted. What kind of people would be in there? Would they be watching me? My fingers brushed the hem of my dress, warmth blooming in my stomach. I should have been nervous. I was. But beneath it all, there was something else. Something I hadn't felt in years. A buzz from my phone snapped me out of my trance. "Let me know when you're here." I grabbed my clutch, took one last, steadying breath, and walked out the door. 20 minutes later, I stood outside the club, alone. No neon signs, no thumping bass spilling onto the sidewalk. Just a simple, polished brass door, tucked between an art gallery and a bespoke tailor. Exclusive. Hidden. My phone felt slick and hot in my hands as I typed, "I'm here." The response was immediate. I swallowed hard, tucking my phone away. No turning back now. My thoughts spiraled. What if someone I knew saw me? What if this wasn't what I imagined? What if it was exactly what I needed? The thought sent a slow, deliberate shiver down my spine. The sound of heels clicking on pavement made me turn. A sleek, dark town car pulled up to the curb, and a moment later, Sloane stepped out, looking as effortless as ever. She spotted me instantly and grinned. "Look at you," she teased, walking over. "You're already glowing." "Oh, shut up," I rolled my eyes. But the way she looked at me, with a mix of pride and excitement, made my stomach clench. Sloane hooked her arm through mine. "Come on, let's get inside before you talk yourself out of this." She led me toward the door, which swung open before we even reached it. A man in a sharp, dark suit stood at the entrance, his gaze sweeping over me, calm and appraising. "Welcome," he said smoothly, his voice like aged whiskey. Sloane pressed a hand against my lower back, guiding me gently forward. A warm, nervous thrill ran through me at her touch. I stepped inside. The bar hummed with low, intimate conversations. The dim lighting cast everything in warm golds and deep, velvety purples. The scent of old leather, burning incense, and chilled champagne mingled in the air, wrapping around me like a velvet invitation. I lifted my glass, the cool liquid a stark contrast to the heat building quietly in my chest. Sloane sat beside me, relaxed and effortless, as if she had done this 100 times. Across from us, Julian watched me with quiet amusement, his fingers swirling the dark amber liquid in his glass. "You're enjoying yourself," he murmured. It wasn't a question. Before I could answer, a presence settled beside me, steady, calm, radiating a confidence that was both reassuring and intoxicating. My pulse quickened before I even turned my head. "Join me." The words weren't a request, but a steady invitation, filled with an easy certainty that was impossible to refuse. Sloane barely glanced up from her drink, her lips curving in a quiet, knowing smile of approval. "Go on," she urged softly. I hesitated for half a breath before placing my empty glass down and rising to follow him. The moment we stepped past the heavy silk drapes, the air changed. It was warmer here, softer, filled with a quiet, potent energy. The lighting was even more subdued, shadows falling over plush velvet seating, the faintest hint of a jazz trio drifting through the room. He led me inside without a word, his hand alight, guiding pressure at my back. Another couple was already there, their eyes drifting over me with warm, friendly curiosity. The woman lounged comfortably, her silk robe slipping just enough to reveal the soft lace of her chemise. Her partner stood behind her, his touch gentle, possessive, resting on the curve of her shoulders. My breath caught as a warm hand cupped my jaw, gently tilting my face upward. "Breathe," he murmured, his voice steady, supportive, almost grounding. I obeyed, but it did nothing to calm the frantic flutter in my chest. His hands followed a slow, deliberate path down my arms, patient, studying my reactions as if I were a delicate instrument. When his fingers brushed my knee, I found myself shifting instinctively, a nervous energy mingling with a deep, magnetic pull. I heard the whisper of fabric, the warmth of someone stepping even closer, his voice returning, calm and reassuring. "I'm right here." His presence seemed to soften the sharp edges of my nerves. A shiver rolled through me as he leaned in, his breath brushing against my shoulder, his fingers tracing light, calming lines near my collarbone. Then, a deeper warmth as he stepped closer still, guiding me gently, waiting for me to relax into the moment. I did, my lips parting, a quiet sound slipping free as I let him lead, the movements slow, steady, and completely controlled. I steadied myself, my hands resting lightly against his chest, absorbing his warmth, his calm, his intoxicating closeness. Behind me, the space shifted. A second presence stepped closer, close enough for me to feel his breath at the nape of my neck. A steady hand settled at my waist, tracing over my curve, slow, thoughtful, taking his time to learn my shape. I exhaled, a small pause, then a gentle guiding pull, bringing me slightly nearer to where he wanted me, where they both wanted me. My breath stuttered as I felt the careful pressure, the slow, deliberate intimacy of their combined presence. My hands trembled as my body adjusted, welcoming the new rhythm that began to take over, a rhythm that moved me between them, surrounding me, protecting me. At first it was patient, testing, easing me into the moment. But soon it deepened, becoming steady, purposeful. My body responded instinctively, letting go. My fingers curled, my skin warm under their hands. Every part of me was tuned to their shared rhythm. I gave myself over to it, letting myself be guided, supported, wrapped in nothing but warmth and pure sensation. A hand lifted my chin gently, tilting my face up to meet calm, dark eyes filled with a wanting that was soft, not demanding. A mouth brushed against mine, warm, sure, stealing the last bit of hesitation from me. My pulse roared in my ears. I barely noticed the soft creak of the door or the murmured voices that followed. Familiar voices, Sloane's tone, playful and approving. "She's beautiful like this, isn't she?" A new touch, fingertips gliding down my spine, gentle and certain. Julian's voice, low with satisfaction. "She fits here." A shift, a new set of hands exploring, guiding, steady and confident. My mind blurred, my body relaxing fully, giving itself over to the movement, the warmth, the closeness, to everything. Pulse, warmth, rhythm, breath. The hum of shared emotion filled the room. I was weightless, unbound, surrounded by hands and voices that steadied me. The rhythm deepened, my body moving between them. Every inch of me awake, alive. It built higher, stronger, a fire warming everything in its path until it crested and then softened. My body trembled, a wave of release rolling over me again and again. I barely noticed the hands still gliding over my skin, calming, grounding, keeping me steady. A slow, gentle brush at my shoulder. Another soft touch along my jaw. A quiet murmur at my ear. The room around me was hazy, people still moving, still wrapped in their own moments. The air was warm with comfort and satisfaction. Sloane's fingers traced lazily down my arm. Her voice was a knowing purr. "Told you you'd love it." My body still shook lightly, the last waves of pleasure fading, the warmth of the room clinging to me, grounding me in the moment I had let go of every fear, every inhibition. And I had loved it. My breath steadied, but my mind raced. The Maya who had walked in here tonight felt like a distant memory, like a character I used to play. I had stepped into something new, something I never could have imagined, and now a slow, thrilling curiosity was rising inside me, lingering, staying. Sloane's fingers brushed over my arm, her voice smooth with amusement. "So, think you'll make this a regular thing? Some say exploring new sides of yourself is the key to true fulfillment. Others believe some lines should never be crossed. But what would you do? Would you take the risk or would you walk away? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See you soon.